and welcome. We're on. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge that this land we meet on today is the traditional lands for the Kaurna people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with the country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. Well, welcome everyone to the CEO Vinnie's Sleep Out 2012 here at Adelaide Oval. I'm Lisa McAskill. It's my pleasure to be your MC this evening. And thanks for all turning up. With all of the rain we've had in the last day or two, I thought a few of you might have got cold feet, but no, you've stuck to your guns and you're all here, so thank you for your commitment. It's quite a historic time, I think, being at the Oval. It doesn't look as forlorn as I imagined it might. And you'll be able to tell your children or your grandchildren, you know, I slept there before these magnificent stands were there. There was only one stand and there was nothing else. So you can use it in your repertoire later. And I think it's quite historic that I was just looking up some facts on the Oval, that in 1884, the first test match was held here between England and Australia. Unfortunately, we lost. But 1884 was the year that Vinnie's started in South Australia. So, you know, maybe there's something in being here tonight and the gods might shine on you and perhaps not rain again, let's hope. Now for some housekeeping. Right, we'll start with emergency evacuation. Now probably some of you might hope that this might happen so it can get you out of here. But if it does happen, a siren will sound and you should immediately make your way to the emergency assembly point, which is on the village green opposite the cloisters and adjacent to the terrace bar stairs at the entrance gate side of the Oval. Does anybody know where that is?
No.
Yeah, over there. Inside you'll get a booklet inside your goodie bag, and there's a map in the front cover of that. So if you need it, you'll be able to look up there. Also, the toilets, the ladies' and men's toilets are located behind the registration desk, where you can, throughout the night, if you've got a secret little warm camping spot, people can kind of find you or not trip over you or whatever. But don't put it where it's going to keep you awake all night. Now, in the morning, don't forget to sign out before you leave. And if it gets too much tonight and you think you might need to leave before morning, there will be sign-out sheets left on the registration table. So we'd really like you just to mark yourself out so that we're not looking for you in the grounds tomorrow morning. Also, there's a Vinnie stand here tonight, so if you do get cold, I'm not sure if you noticed it behind the registration desk, you can buy yourself another jacket, you can buy beanies and gloves, and they're really well priced. In fact, they said that they were going to, price them quite exorbitantly to make some extra money. Well, most of them, I had a look, are about $20, so that is priced up to how much they normally are. So you can give them a bigger donation. If you do buy one and you don't really want it, you can donate it back in the morning when you leave. You can also donate back your sleeping bag, if you like, as well. If sleeping out tonight has put you off of sleeping out ever and ever again and you're never going to need a sleeping bag again, you can donate that to Vinnie's and they will certainly make good use of it. I think that's most of it. Now it brings me to introduce you to David Walk, the CEO of St Vincent de Paul. Please put your hands together and welcome David.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you very much for being here this evening and playing the role that you're playing. It's always interesting to see the calibre of volunteers that any organisation can attract, and one simple phone call to Lisa to ask if she'd be prepared to be involved tonight, and there wasn't a problem at all. So it's very appreciated what you're doing tonight.
I'd now like to introduce Brian Cunningham, Chair of the new St Vincent de Paul Society Business Development Advisory Panel, to speak about how some of the state's leading business people are engaging to make a real difference in our communities. Please welcome Brian Cunningham. Thanks, Brian. I'd now like to invite Dominic Lagana, the State President of St Vincent de Paul, the St Vincent de Paul Society, to come forward to present the Fundraiser of the Year award. But before he does that, Dominic actually didn't want any introduction. I said in our sort of briefing meeting the other day, there's no bio here. Normally I always have to read out a bio, but David wanted me to tell you, or just inform you, for those that don't know, Dominic's 41 and he's going to bash David up now over there probably. But he's been very heavily involved with Vinnie's since he was 25 years old. In David's words, he is the real deal. And he spends a lot of his time doing the home visitations that we've heard about before. He's devoted himself really full-time to his role as president of Vinnie's for the last 4 years, I think it is. He probably spends 30 hours or more. Thanks, Dominic. We're just about there. I'd just like to acknowledge the top fundraisers. And I don't think Dominic did this because he's actually second on the list. So first was Steve Morris, and I'd particularly like to acknowledge the fact that Steve not only led the way in raising the money, but he got really involved and got a team of people from the Property Council to actually go and visit the Vincennes Centre. So we really appreciate his effort and for leading the task and setting an example of how much money you actually can raise. Dominic came in at second place. Third was Bernie Lange. Fourth was David Cook. 5, David Knox. But there was a real race at the end with Jane Yule, Craig Rawston, Phil Rundle, with only a few $100s separating them. Now that might have changed. This was how it was at about 6 o'clock. And the names that were at the top yesterday actually can be seen on the scoreboard. So if you haven't noticed your name up there already, take a walk out to the Oval and have a look. But unfortunately, it was a bit too cold and wet to change them around. So they were as it was yesterday. And it's great to know that the scoreboard is staying in the redevelopment here, as well as the mound. And the mound actually came from when they dug out the Torrens Lake back in 1884 or 3, I think it was. They thought, what are we going to do with all this soil? And they used that to make the mound here at Adelaide Oval. So that's staying along with the Moreton Bay fig trees. That's my postcard, sorry, you can't get it out of me. I'm not going to keep you much longer, but just want to tell you that nationally we've reached $4.5 million. There's 1,048 CEOs sleeping out nationally tonight. As it was said before, we've raised $375,000 here in South Australia, so thank you so much for all your efforts. Tonight, you might want to keep going with your fundraising and make all of your friends feel guilty that are at home in the warm and video yourself and upload it to Facebook or Flitter or YouTube it. Now, if you don't know how to use all of these things, you've got all night to work it out, and the instructions are in that booklet in your goodie bag, so you can sit there and that will keep you occupied. You can now go down and enjoy some dinner at Fred's Van. So I hope you enjoy your meal. It is what they would have served this evening to the people that they regularly go and help feed. I hope you have some great networking, some very warm conversation, and thank you once again for your contribution and sleeping out and your commitment tonight. Have a great evening. Anybody who got a coloured card in an envelope as you came in, could you come up and see Rebecca now? Is anybody? Is it a lucky prize or no? No.